Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Now if you've seen any of these videos before, you might be thinking, why does this one look a little bit different? Now these videos tend to be filmed on a Canon C100 and today I will be reviewing the Canon C100, hence why the film looks a little bit different because I'm currently filming this on a little tiny digicam sort of thing. That's why this kind of looks like a different decade than what they normally look. So if I just give you a little sort of cut to the camera, so this is just rolling still. I can show you exactly what is rolling on this camera. There you are. So it's a Canon FS100 that's being stacked on some DVDs and some books from a charity shop. And you can kind of see the surrounding. And let me just give you a bit of an idea on what it sort of, the stabilisation is like. It's not a particularly stable camera, I don't think. It captures every little wobble, it captures every little thing, right? So this is a camera that is not particularly great for handheld stuff. It can just about do it if you put some warp stabilizers on it, if you really make sure that you're doing it perfectly. But to be honest, this is a camera that is built for tripods, in my opinion. It's a camera that has a super 35mm sensor, so it's quite a powerful little device in it. I'm not going to make this a video about technicalities and like, ooh, it's got this and it has this, because I don't really know what any of it means and I don't care, to be totally honest with you. What I care about is the fact that that shot looks better through the camera than it does through my own eyes, right? Because I'm seeing basically what the camera's seeing, right? And what I'm seeing is a bit dark, the colours aren't all that. The purple on the Peep Show box set, it doesn't feel that purple. It's not that interesting. But on the camera, it looks very, very nice, right? Nice and crisp, really good sort of focus kind of thing. You got all the buttons along the side, so you got various buttons for it. So like magnification zooms it in. And there's a setting that you can use which allows you to, when you zoom in, it goes black and white, which makes it very, very easy to catch the focus, because you're getting some of the noise of the information, because you don't actually need to know what color anything is to know if it's in focus or not. That's unnecessary information that your brain is having to process, which makes it harder and harder and harder to actually do the pulling of the focus. So if you can just make it black and white like I can, I noticed that I started getting my shots in focus a hell of a lot more since I started using that feature. It's really quite useful. It's also got peaking, so if you want to make sure something's in focus, like proper in focus, yeah, there's some little red lines that come around it. It's nothing special, basically every camera has that. Then I've got zebra lines, same sort of thing, and you can set to 2 different zebra lines, so there's like these sort of not that big a deal ones that kind of go this way and they're not that big a deal, right? And those are, if you're at like, you can set it. I've got it set so that if it's like 75% to being overblown, it will come up with these little warning ones like, hey, Josh, you might want to, you know, just pay attention to this. And then you've got these mega ones that come down like that, and they're like, right, like the sun blaring down on you. And those ones are basically to say, right, you don't care, do you? All right, fine, well, neither do I. So that's kind of what those ones do. What else is on this camera? You have WFM, which brings up this little limmetry meter. So if you want, I don't know if you can see it. I can't be bothered to like get the camera like right up close to it and do all that kind of stuff. I'll do another video for that. This is just a basic talking about the camera thing. This isn't like a review, right? So the higher the green lines are, the more exposed it is, right? So you don't want them to be right at the bottom, like that. You don't want them to be right at the bottom. You also don't want them to be, I'm pointing at the sun basically. You don't want them to be right at the top either, because you can't see anything, okay? Then you have custom picture, which as far as I'm concerned doesn't do anything. And then you've got white balance. White balance is always quite useful. So you can just set it to, I've got it to 5600 because that's the temperature that the sun gives off, so that's just your neutral. Then there's another button that just does the same thing for some reason. Then you've got status, and you can like change the ISO by like 1/3 or by half, and I think, well, why not have it as 1/3? That way I can get more precise movement. Iris increment, fine, because the alternative would be coarse, I suppose, and you want your iris to sort of, because that's basically like the f-stop sort of thing, and it sort of shows, right, the more exposed this is, you know, it's going to do it in little like jumps, if that makes sense, and you want those jumps to be as small as possible so that the viewer doesn't notice them. Yeah, then there's loads of extra random settings on here. There's all sorts of stuff that I don't really mess around with. You don't need it, honestly. You don't need it, because the point of this camera is it's so basic and so simple that it just does whatever you need. There's this push auto iris button, which is quite useful. It sounds quite satisfying as well. I don't know if you could hear that, but that sounds quite satisfying. And it's got dual SD card slots, so you can record into two at once. I never do that. Sometimes I barely even have two SD cards in it at most times. I tend to just have one in there, and everyone I know that has dual SD card slots just does it the same sort of way. There's obviously, say if you were doing a wedding or some kind of event like that, then yeah, I would put two SD cards in and turn that setting on. But for like normal everyday use, I don't think I need that. Then you've got, you know, your basic battery info. Can I get rid of the fucking status stuff? I don't care. And then battery and display info. So you got, this is how I know, I don't know if you can see, there's these two lines here that make it look like 4:3. So I use those to rely on the idea like, okay, this will be the shot here, but I can have a little bit of extra usable stuff. So if once I get into Premiere, I can shift it left or right slightly so that I can, you know, just tweak the shot in little ways that I like. That's another benefit to doing the 4:3, is that I have the artistic license to kind of mess around with the stuff afterwards, rather than just like, this is the shot, this is what it looks like, it's like this. And yeah, I'm not particularly interested in that. What else? What else is there to show you on this sort of thing? It's got built-in ND filters, so those are good. So now it's completely dark, still quite dark, still quite dark, back to normal. Right? That's brilliant, because before I had where is it? When I was using this as my main camera, this is a Canon 6D. When I was using that as my main camera and I wanted to use ND filters, I'd have to screw them on and then screw them off, and it's just ridiculous. Here, done. He'd still be getting the ND filter out of the case, because you need to put it in a case and you need to put that one in that slot and then find that one. And also they're really tight in these little like sleeves, so you need to like kind of get them out of the sleeves, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. Why do that when I can just do this and just cycle through them? So that's brilliant. Menu, you got loads of stuff in your menu. Your basic stuff, there's timecode stuff, there's LCD stuff, there's video setup, there's audio input, because it's got where is it? So you can put two XLR things in here. So you could put, say, like a shotgun microphone in here, or like something that maybe hooks up to an audio interface, or maybe you could get something that hooks into some kind of like wireless lavalier system or something like that. And then it's also got onboard stereo microphones as well, which actually sound all right. They're not necessarily usable on a professional film or anything like that, but if you just want audio, like to synchronize to or something like that, it's brilliant for that. Or if you just want like something that doesn't matter what the sound quality is really like, you're just trying to get the footage, that's what the more important thing. They still work. They do a decent job, but you can just chuck a microphone here and it sounds pretty good. Say like a Rode NTG2 or something like that, that'll do wonders in here. That actually fits in here. I've got a Deity S Mic 2, which I've not used once on this channel so far, and probably won't need to ever use it again, because the lav mics are so much better than the boom mics anyway. But it doesn't fit in this. So whenever I wanted to use it, I'd have to gaffer tape like around it and around it and around it and around it. And then to take that off, it would take ages as well. So it was just ridiculous. So yeah, you've kind of got that. What else? There's little settings on this side up here, so you can decide, do you want it auto or manual. I've just got it set, this one set to auto. And I've got this one set to manual, so this one's a little bit like more, not whatever the opposite of hot is, so cold. Just in case this one peaks, because sometimes it peaks a little bit, so I have this one just as a backup. You can also lock the recording, which I'm sure it has its use. I've never needed it. I imagine it'd be quite useful for like recording a podcast or something like that, because that's the good thing about this camera. And it's kind of the bullshit thing about whatever standards governmental body made it so that DSLRs are only allowed to shoot for half an hour at a time because they're not real cameras, or some bullshit like that. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so don't like take what I've said as kind of gospel, right? But there's a reason that these can only record for half an hour at a time, and it's not because of the hardware limitations, right? This can record for as long as it fucking pleases, right? You can sit down and record for like 200 minutes straight. It will split the clips up after the fact, but into things of 4 gigabytes, but it will still do a fantastic job of just recording and recording and recording and recording and recording. And what's really one of the most useful features that might seem really stupid, it's got a red light. So that if I'm like, say I'm just doing like a normal Johnny Mozza video, right? I can see if the light's on. So you see how the light's just gone off? Back on, it's rolling again. Do you see? So that clip's not going to be very useful, but that's what these things are really good at. I think this camera is fucking brilliant, and I really want to do a proper review of it at some point, because this is a bit all over the place. But I just wanted to talk about the camera in general, because I have been asked about it quite a few times, and people have been interested in how these videos are filmed. Everything is done on this. This camera came out in 2012, and when it came out, it cost like 12 grand. I bought it for £600. That didn't include batteries. I had to buy 3 batteries at £50 each. So £750. Then I spent £70 on a lens, so £820 for basically the whole package. Right? And then I bought a tripod. I already had a tripod. The tripod was £130. And bear in mind, I don't use the tripod anymore because the base plate is fucked. I had to buy a new base plate, and I haven't bothered to put it in yet. But I don't record with a tripod. I literally will set it down like that. Like, imagine that's like a thing. I just leave it there and just fuck off and do the video that way. I just prop it up on stuff. I just do that. Okay? I don't do anything special. This is how most of the videos are recorded, just like this. Or like what I showed you earlier, how this camera is propped up on some DVDs. There's no professionality going into this, okay? And you don't need professionality to do anything. So I thought I would just let you know that, and just, you know, remind you, and that you can go out there and do exactly the vision that you want to do with the resources you have, as long as you find creative solutions to the problems that come your way. So thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Take care, and yeah, bye-bye. I'll do a review of this one at some point as well. And I'll do an actual review of this, like with like proper footage and B-roll and stuff.